This is a summary of press releases from Japanese electronics manufacturers on 20th November. First up, we've got a huge partnership brewing in the world of high-performance computing. We're talking about Edge Core Networks, Fujitsu's own Onefinity, and Liquid. These three are teaming up, and their goal is, well, it's to completely rethink how we even build and connect data centers.
Okay, so the core idea here is pretty revolutionary. Forget thinking about data centers as just separate, isolated buildings. What this partnership wants to do is create one massive, virtual data center that's spread out over hundreds of kilometers. They're using something called a seamless all-photonics network, which basically lets them share resources, things like GPUs or storage, between different cities almost instantly. It's kind of like having a single supercomputer that's the size of a country, all optimized for those really demanding AI workloads. We're going to get our first peek at the demo during the SC25 Summit, with the full rollout planned for March 2026.
All right, next we're shifting gears to cybersecurity, and this is a big one. KDDI and NEC are joining forces to create a brand new joint venture. Its whole purpose? To take on the rising tide of global cyber threats that Japan is facing. So this new venture has a pretty powerful name, the United Cyber Force, and it's officially getting started on November 28th. It's a 50-50 deal, and its mission is to make a huge shift away from just passive defense. They're talking about active cyber defense. So what does that mean? Well, instead of just sitting back and waiting for attacks to happen, they're going to be proactively hunting for threats. The whole idea is to build a much, much stronger digital shield for Japan's government and its corporate clients. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about the auto industry. Sony Honda Mobility is really starting to make some noise with its electric vehicle brand, Afeela. And right now, all eyes are on what they've got planned for the next big tech show, CES 2026 in Vegas. And wow, they've got an ambitious schedule laid out for us. So get this. On January 5th, Afeela is holding its very first solo press conference at CES. That's huge. We're expecting to see the pre-production model of the Afeela 1, the one that's supposed to start hitting roads in California around mid-2026. But the really exciting, Kurt, they're also teasing a brand new concept vehicle. This is really the moment, where Afeela goes from just a cool idea to a real, tangible product you can actually see. So we're going from the future of cars to the future of how those cars are made. Canon Marketing Japan and Subaru have teamed up on something really interesting. They're building a virtual factory tour for Subaru's Gunma plant. And it's a pretty fascinating look at how VR can be used in the industrial world. So you might be asking, why a virtual tour? Well, it turns out the factory's going through some upgrades, which made physical tours a real headache. Subaru needed a new way to show people what they do, and they've done it using Canon's EOS VR system. We're talking an immersive 3D tour that lets you go places you could never go in real life. Imagine being right inside a car body as it's getting painted. But what's really cool is that this isn't just for the public. They're already planning to use this for employee training and even for passing down highly specialized technical skills. All right, from virtual factories to buildings that literally generate their own power, YKK AP and Panasonic Holdings have just kicked off a joint test for some really groundbreaking solar tech. The big idea here is to turn ordinary windows into a source of clean energy. The technology that makes this all possible is called glass-type perovskite solar cells. It's a type of BIPV, which just means building integrated photovoltaics. But the real game changer here is how flexible this stuff is. You can customize the size, the transparency, you can even print designs right on them. So just imagine entire skyscrapers in big cities generating power from their windows without messing up the view or the building's look. That's exactly the kind of future they're testing out right now in Osaka. Okay, let's head indoors for this next one. Sharp is taking on air quality with the new commercial-grade air purifier. It's part of their PureFit series, and this model, the FUM1200, is built specifically to handle really, really big spaces. Let's look at the specs here. First off, it can cover a huge area, up to 87 square meters. But what's really impressive, especially for a commercial unit, is how quiet it is. We're talking just 37 decibels on its medium setting. That's quiet enough for places like offices, libraries, or hotel lounges where you don't want a lot of noise. It's also got some smarts built in, with app control through their Kokoro Air app, so you can set up a weekly timer. And they've thought about the practical side too, with an L-shaped plug and a nice long 3.5-meter power cord to make installation easier. Next up, let's take a look at the software market, because NEC Next Solutions is celebrating something pretty remarkable.
Their workflow system, called Xplanner/FL, has just solidified its place as a true long-term market leader.
And honestly, this number pretty much says it all. 12. That's right. For 12 consecutive years, Xplanner/Flow has been ranked #1 in market share for workflow systems among Japanese small and medium-sized enterprises. That's according to Nork Research. To stay on top for that long in a competitive market, that shows an incredible amount of consistency and trust.
All right, let's shift over to corporate sustainability now. Toshiba Device and Storage, along with its manufacturing group companies, has just gotten some major props for their efforts in water conservation. And this is a really critical issue in their line of work.
So, let's break down who got what. Japan Semiconductor is a brand new recipient of the Water Cycle Active Company certification. Meanwhile, the Himeji Semiconductor Plant and Kaga Toshiba Electronics have both had their certifications renewed for a second year. And you know, getting this recognition from the Cabinet Office is a really big deal, because making semiconductors uses an enormous amount of water. So any effort to reduce that usage and recycle more is absolutely vital. Staying on the topic of energy for a moment, Panasonic is working with Octopus Energy on a really innovative pilot program. They're trying to solve a huge challenge that's coming our way. With more and more electric vehicles on the road, how do we charge them all without completely overloading the power grid?
So here's the plan. They're starting with about 100 homes in the Tokyo area that have EV charging equipment. These homeowners will use a special app, the Uchi EV charging service, which connects their charger to the grid. Then, the system automatically controls the charging, scheduling it for times when electricity prices are at their lowest. The goal here is really twofold. First, they want to prove that this actually saves people money on their electricity bills, and second, they want to see just how much it can shift power demand away from those peak hours, which would be a huge help in keeping the whole grid stable.
We're sticking with Panasonic, but jumping back into the automotive world. Panasonic Automotive Systems has just announced that they've joined the Open Invention Network, or OIN. This is a huge community that's all about protecting open source software from patent lawsuits. And this quote from the OIN CEO really sums it up. By joining, Panasonic Automotive is committing to patent non-aggression. What that means is they promise not to sue other OIN members over patents related to core open source technologies like Linux. And why is this so important? Well, it's absolutely crucial for what we call software-defined vehicles. Think about it. Modern cars are basically computers on wheels, built with software from hundreds of different places. A move like this helps ensure that everyone can innovate freely without constantly looking over their shoulder for a patent lawsuit. It just helps speed up development for the whole industry. Okay, this next one is a huge breakthrough for railway safety. Mitsubishi Electric has developed what they're calling an industry-first long-range LiDAR system. And this could be a total game changer for automating trains and just making the tracks safer in general. And this chart really shows you why this is such a big deal. You see that number, 600 meters? For regular trains in Japan, that's the magic number. It's the standard maximum distance it takes for a train to make an emergency stop. Well, Mitsubishi Electric's new LiDAR can spot a person or even a tiny object just 20 centimeters high from exactly 600 meters away. This is the first time any LiDAR system has been able to match that crucial braking distance, which is what makes it a truly viable piece of tech for safe, automated train operations. And finally, our last piece of news comes from Fujitsu, and it's aimed squarely at the food distribution industry. They're launching a big new solution called the Fujitsu Food Distribution Sync Service, and the goal is to help modernize the whole sector's core business systems. So, the key word here is standardization. Fujitsu is taking all of its experience in this area and pouring it into a single cloud-based service that can handle over 1,500 different business functions. You can almost think of it as an all-in-one operating system for the entire food distribution process. By offering this as a flexible service, they're helping these companies avoid the huge costs of building their own custom IT systems. It lets them focus on their real job, getting food from the farm to your table. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a like.